the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one, only one. I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules. My life destroyed, life destroyed. Until I walk awake, scream my mind, I shout, the ground shakes. How much can I take? My mind will break. Will it break? Can I take? Can I be your superhero?
Well, good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, and it is way too cold for your buddy Brooks. Tell you what, I spent about the last 30 minutes on the phone with Ange talking about how cold it is and how pretty Connie's floors are. Man, these floors are gorgeous, and I'm glad she finally got them put in. So here we go. What do you all know about this case? Do you believe the children, or do you believe Timothy Busfield? He's got some charges on him in New Mexico that are horrendous, okay? However, overnight, news broke that the children have redacted their claims. Not redacted. They have basically said none of this happened. So, I'm always going to believe children first. Always, always, always. If they did say something, someone put them up to it. So either way, this is just me, there's some abuse going on. Somebody has been abused. Somebody has. Timothy Busfield, he is a director. He is an actor. He is married to Melissa Gilbert. We all know her as Laura Ingalls Wilder. And he is saying that this is basically a shakedown for money. Now, this is what's interesting. He has actually settled out of court before by someone that accused him of brushing up against her chest. Always believe the kids. Always believe the kids. You don't have, how do I put this without sounding like, how do I say it? When a child has an accusation, either way, something is going on. What the hell are you talking about, Stein? Summer Wells alive and living in Norway. Miss me, Stein. Miss me with that. You almost had me. You almost had me, Stein. Damn it. Let's take a second and tell everybody good morning. Okay, so let's get to the facts. Let's get to the short and curlies. A few weeks ago, the FBI raided Timothy Busfield and Melissa Gilbert's apartment in New York. He knew charges were coming his way According to him, it's because he would not pay this mother whose twins worked on his set, and she wasn't happy about either their pay or what part they got. That's his story, and of course, she has another. He basically went on the run, okay? He went on the run, but he turned himself in to the police in Albuquerque. So let's start with this. And if the kids recanted their statement, it could be because they're scared.
You will continue to be held without bond.
The West Wing star in an orange jumpsuit faced the New Mexico judge this afternoon. His appearance lasted about a minute and he did not address the court. Busfield will remain in detention without bond. His next hearing will be held within 5 days.
He has a hearing today, and they're probably going to go ahead and set bond. More than likely because of what came out overnight, and we will get to that.
This morning, Busfield's attorney claimed he passed an independent polygraph test, but just hours before, a stunning new filing as police identified another alleged victim, a Sacramento girl who claimed the actor sexually abused her when she was 16. Adding to the drama, less than an hour after Busfield turned himself in to authorities, this was the chaotic scene 2,000 miles away. The Daily Mail Plus, with the video as officers raid.
Woo! I said apartment, it's a house. U.S. Marshals. Damn! They're breaking shit down. They're in there to find something, which tells me the children might have relayed that he might have had a little, might have taken a picture, might have a trophy with him. I don't know. But man, look at that. They're busting the shit up.
The chaotic scene 2,000 miles away. The Daily Mail Plus, with the video as officers raided and rammed open the door of the upstate New York home he shares with his wife, actress Melissa Gilbert.
The raid on Busfield's New York house looks like a coincidence of timing. It looks like the marshals and local authorities got there too late because he had already left.
What is the secret to this marriage?
Mutual respect. We have the same values and ideas.
Melissa is standing by her husband, and in a statement, her rep said, quote, during this period, her focus is on supporting and caring for their very large family.
And you've got grandchildren now.
Grandchildren now. I have 8 grandchildren.
And we're learning more about the beloved cabin, complete with a chicken coop that was raided by authorities.
This is our little house in the Catskills.
You are finding yourself in the Catskills, so upstate New York, and rehabbing this cottage cabin that you like to call the cabbage.
The cabbage.
The couple brought the rundown property in 2019 for $98,000. Melissa told us it was their safe place during the pandemic, and it reminded her of her childhood shooting Little House on the Prairie.
I love communing with nature, and I always wanted to have that in my life. And when I met and married Tim Busfield, my extraordinary husband, luckily we found this rundown little hunting cabin in the middle of nowhere that had been sealed up for decades and was musty and smelly. But we were able to turn that into a safe place to be and literally made it inhabitable by Thanksgiving, Christmas of 2019. And we were locked down on March 13th.
Okay. So they raided. All right. Part of the probable cause affidavit is they spoke about Melissa Gilbert sending extravagant gifts, buying extravagant gifts for the children on Timothy's set. They call him extravagant. I look at him, I call him extravagant, but I'm going to call anything like that extravagant because it's not exactly something that I would give to someone else's child. So there's been a big question mark there. But they do have a very large family. Like she said, they have 8 grandchildren. So some people are scratching their head going, is this true? Or is he really being extorted, being blackmailed? What is going on here? If the U.S. Marshals broke into my shit, well, He took off running, but he turned himself in. All right, overnight, this is what Melissa Gilbert said. She said she is not leaving him.
I will not divorce Timothy, because right now, a divorce would be nothing more than a cheap piece of paper. What you see as my firm support is not the truth. It was a PR move to protect a collapsing brand and keep legal damages from tearing apart what we built. But I can't stand the person I see in the mirror. I grew up on film sets. I know better than most what lives in the shadows the cameras never reach. If Timothy really hurt those children, then my support would only hurt them again. So I decided to stop staying silent. I deleted my social media to stop this from becoming sides and spectacle. I won't let children's pain become fuel for outrage and clicks. Silence was the only way to protect what could still be protected in the middle of chaos. I reached out to the children, not to clear his name, not to ask for forgiveness that means nothing. I offered counseling and financial support, because as his wife, I have a responsibility to help repair the harm he may have caused. I will not ask forgiveness for anyone. Forgiveness never belongs to the person who caused harm, but I will do everything I can to give those children whatever repair, support, and I will not divorce Timothy, because right now, a divorce would be nothing more than a cheap piece of paper. What you see as my firm support is not the truth. It was a PR move to protect a collapse.
Is everyone gathering what she's saying? She's not going to divorce him. Not because she thinks he's innocent. She said she reached out to the children, and this is her. This is her. Her, no makeup on, sharing pictures. But she said that she reached out to the children, which has been verified, to get them whatever help they need for whatever pain has been caused. Okay.
Collapsing brand and keep legal damages from tearing apart what we built. But I can't stand the person I see in the mirror. I grew up on film sets. I know better than most what lives in the shadows the cameras never reach. If Timothy really hurt those children, then my support would only hurt them again. So I decided to stop staying silent. I deleted my social media to stop this from becoming sides and spectacle. I won't let children's pain become fuel for outrage and clicks. Silence was the only way to protect what could still be protected in the middle of chaos. I reached out to the children, not to clear his name, not to ask for forgiveness that means nothing. I offered counseling and financial support, because as his wife, I have a responsibility to help repair the harm he may have caused. I will not ask forgiveness for anyone. Forgiveness never belongs to the person who caused harm, but I will do everything I can to give those children whatever repair, support, and I will.
Okay. Now, part of that was actually in her statement that she wrote to the judge, and we'll get to that in a little bit. All right, let's get to it. Again, he has court today. And Melissa Gilbert, of all people, I wouldn't think would lend any support to anyone that she could even possibly think could bully, harass, essay, or anything a child on a set because of what she shared about things that she went through when she was growing up. And all I can say is, whoa.
Closer look at the Busfield case and what's next for the actor as he prepares for a detention hearing, like Alex said, next week. I want to bring in Rich Schoenstein, a trial attorney and legal analyst. Rich, good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning to you.
Busfield is due back in court on Tuesday for a detention hearing. We heard in Alex's piece there's now a new allegation against him. A father says his 16-year-old daughter was abused by the actor. How will this new allegation weigh into what happens at the hearing?
I don't know if the new allegation will weigh into the hearing too much unless...
It won't. It's a separate charge. More than likely, today he will get a bond in Albuquerque, and he'll be allowed to go back home, possibly to New York. I think they have a home in California. He might be required to stay in New Mexico. That shouldn't be a problem considering they have a studio there. But this will have to be a totally separate charge.
It's part of the charges, unless prosecutors are going to amend the charges, because the case at hand for which he is under arrest has to do with 2 victims. And you wouldn't start looking at allegations from other potential victims that aren't part of the proceedings, that never went to court, that never amounted to any kind of indictment. That wouldn't really weigh into it. I suppose the prosecutors might attempt to go there, but I don't think that is really part of the analysis for this judge at this detention hearing.
We just watched that video of him proclaiming his innocence, then he turned himself into authorities. How much does that video do for his defense, Rich?
Well, it does nothing for his defense in the courtroom. In the courtroom, that kind of thing is a negative. You would never let your client, in ordinary circumstances, post a video commenting on the allegations against him.
That was a very stupid move. And if I read it right, he posted this when he was evading authorities. Okay? Scared shitless, I guess. And of all people, he gave it to TMZ. You really are going to trust TMZ? Okay? Really? Really? Carmen Libra said that's going to be sickening if she too is involved or turned a blind eye. I can't remember who it was. You know, one of the experts. I love the experts. That said, it is not uncommon, and I would have to have somebody with a higher educational pedigree than your old buddy Brooks to weigh in on this. It is not uncommon for the abused to eventually become an abuser or be okay about child abuse. And they sort of have this attitude like, well, I got through it, they'll be okay. I really hope that is not the case here. I really hope nothing has happened to these 3 kids, the twins or the 16-year-old. We do know there was a cash payout years ago about a 17-year-old. And there's a non-disclosure, so no one can find any details on it. So this is not the first time he has been accused. Okay? But when Melissa Gilbert is calling the victims, I'm assuming the mother, I don't think she's going to dial up the kids. And any financial support you need, let's get them counseling for whatever you think might have happened to them. That might have been overstepping the bounds. But we will see what happens today. And I promise I will post it.
The client has the right to remain silent, and you tell your client to exercise that right. But Timothy Busfield has a public life, and part of his defense is his defense to that public because he wants to remain hireable and have a chance to work in the future. That's what that video is targeted to, not to the courtroom. To the courtroom, it is a potential negative only.
We should mention Busfield's wife, that, of course, actress Melissa Gilbert, a number of former co-workers, some of his friends have filed letters in his support. Does a judge take things like that into consideration in cases like this?
In terms of the detention hearing, I would think maybe, because the judge is trying to figure out if he can be let out of jail prior to.
Okay, he's facing up to 15 years in prison. Now, what I have read, it has to do with touching over the clothes. That's all I've read. And I'm not saying that's okay. I'm not saying that's okay. I am not minimizing shit. Now, I'm going to speak for myself, okay? I can't really speak for myself because this accusation has never been made against me or my husband. But if an accusation like this had been made against my husband, and I knew damn good and well it didn't happen, the last thing I would do is call up the kids or their mom and say, I'm here to support you financially with anything you need. You know what I would do? I'd be like, fuck those kids and their lying mama. We're taking this shit to court. We're going all the way with this. I'm talking, I want every camera in the studio. I want everybody questioned. I mean, everybody. No way would I call and say, well, I'm here to financially help you and get, the children therapy. This came out in therapy. Laura Ingalls Wilder, this came out in therapy. That's the reason the therapist has said that the twins have PTSD and anxiety. Timothy Busfield is saying that since the twins were recasted, that's when all of this began. Hell no.
A trial and having the support of the wife, having a community support, having a clear place in the community, those are things that could be considered in deciding whether or not he awaits trial in or out of jail. On the merits, they're meaningless. They probably wouldn't even be admitted at trial. They don't really go to his guilt or innocence.
I want to turn now to another tragic case that's gotten a lot of attention in recent weeks. That's the murder of Spencer.
Okay, they're switching gears. Ange said, started after a role wanted, after the twins were recasted, and they wanted that role. And that's when, as Timothy Busfield, he describes their mother, the twins. He describes her as your stereotypical stage mother. Stein, we're not talking about summer today, so go ahead and write down all your notes and save it for the next summer show. I appreciate your passion for the Summer Wells case, but it's kind of creeping me out right now. Thank you. Okay. Again, we do not give money to victims. We don't do it. We especially don't give money to victims when they are pointing the finger at your husband, who they are saying is the perpetrator.
Right now at 3, prosecutors have leveled another accusation of child sex abuse against actor Timothy Busfield. This latest allegation comes as Busfield made his first court appearance today in Albuquerque for charges of sexual abuse against 2 children in New Mexico. NBC4's Ted Chen has been monitoring that hearing. He joins us live in the newsroom with the latest. Ted.
Annabelle, Timothy Busfield's scheduled court appearance today comes after he turned himself into authorities in Albuquerque. He has adamantly denied allegations of sexual misconduct.
I'm going to confront these lies. They're horrible.
Before turning himself in to New Mexico authorities and appearing in court, Timothy Busfield told
he knew he was wanted. I don't understand why he didn't lawyer up and say, I've been accused of these things. He took off. And then he made a video that he gave to TMZ and then turned himself in Albuquerque. What the hell is going on? We know they've got money. We know they got Big Bucks Deluxe. They got Little House on the Prairie money. They got West Wing money. They got their own studio money. They got book money. They got all kinds of money. They got it coming from all, they don't get one paycheck a month from one source. They got it coming from all angles. They got north, northeast, east, east, west. You know what I mean. But he makes this video and sends it to TMZ to get ahead of it. And I'm like, well, that stinks of guilt. Tim Bus.
TMZ, he was innocent of charges he had inappropriately touched 2 child actors on the television series The Cleaning Lady, in which he was both an actor and director.
They're all lies, and I did not do anything to those little boys, and I'm going to fight it.
According to court documents obtained by NBC News, the child actors told their therapist when they were 11 years old about inappropriate contact from Busfield on set, who they referred to as Uncle Tim, and that it began when they were 7 years old, according to the affidavit. One of the boys alleged Busfield touched both his genitalia and bottom. The affidavit alleges the behavior went on for almost 2 years. Legal analyst Royal Oaks on the challenge.
I'm going to go ahead and say, even if it's over the close, you just don't go south of the Mason-Dixon. Okay? It's unwanted. You don't spank a kid on the butt and say, good luck, get out there. You say, your turn, or how about this? Just keep your hands to yourself. Now, he's saying these are all lies. I don't even know what to make of this. I really don't. But I want to say thank you very much to Stacey Perry. Thank you for supporting this channel. You guys are the ones that keep this channel. You're the ones that keep the head above the water.
Challenges prosecutors face.
First, you look at delay. Was there an extreme delay in reporting? Secondly, have the stories that kids have been telling been consistent from month to month, year to year? And finally, is there a motivation? Was there a feud? Are they looking for a payday? All of these things have to be sorted out.
Busfield's lawyer says his client did nothing wrong. Busfield's wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, told NBC News she stands with and supports her husband.
And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong.
In court documents.
Shut the front door, Brian Koberger. What are you talking about, exonerated? Oh, I misspelled retro. Hey, retro girl. The hell are you talking about? I'm going to be exonerated. You mean acquitted? You mean found not guilty? Is that what you mean? Exonerated is slim to none. Exonerated is almost like you're found guilty and then the Innocence Project comes through and finds out you're not, and then you're exonerated. Listen to this again. That's some Brian Koberger shit right there.
Are they looking for a payday? All of these things have to be sorted out.
Busfield's lawyer says his client did nothing wrong. Busfield's wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, told NBC News she stands with and supports her husband.
And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong.
In court documents filed today, prosecutors also allege that Busfield inappropriately touched and kissed a 16-year-old girl several years ago at an audition in Sacramento. Busfield's lawyer has not yet responded to our request for comment on that allegation. Live in the newsroom, I'm Ted Chen, NBC.
Exonerated. 50-cent word right there. Way to go. Way to go. All right. Well, the dad of the 16-year-old spoke out to Inside Edition. For transparency, I have to let you know that the dad of the 16-year-old was paid for this interview. The only reason I'm being that transparent about it, not to change your mind, because I'm always going to be on the side of the kids, whether they're making it up or not. I'm going to be on their side, because when a child makes something up, there's something else going on. And we're going to get to how they recanted. But for full transparency, since Timothy Busfield and Melissa Gilbert are saying this is some kind of shakedown for money, I just have to let you know that Inside Edition pays for interviews.
A woman claiming she was sexually abused by actor Timothy Busfield when she was just 16 is speaking out to Inside Edition. He tells Ann Mercogliano he trusted Busfield, letting his daughter work with him at the children's theater Busfield founded.
Today, I spoke to the father of an alleged victim of actor Timothy Busfield as he faces child sex abuse charges.
You've had harsh words for Timothy Busfield.
He's a serial pedophile predator.
Yeah. That's what the dad of the 16-year-old said. People have questions. Why is the 16-year-old, who's a grown woman now coming out? I think there's a lot of reasons for that. Shame, embarrassment. There's a lot of reasons victims don't speak up. Okay. Maybe she thought now is the time to come out to make sure that these kids get the justice they deserve because she knew what happened to her. You know what I mean? Woo! He's a serial pedophile predator. Okay.
Dad Colin Swift says Timothy Busfield attacked his daughter in 2001 when she was a 16-year-old intern at Sacramento's B Street Theater, founded by Timothy Busfield.
My daughter was accepted into the B Street Theater internship program, and that was a big deal in those days. You got to perform in front of, an Emmy award-winning actor, Tim Busfield.
He says about 4 months into her internship, Busfield asked his daughter to clean his office.
She climbed a little ladder, and Tim was below her looking up. She told me she was pulled down. He spun her around. It was reported that he kissed her. It wasn't a kiss. It was a violation.
He says
There is nothing romantic about that. For one, he doesn't need an intern to clean his office. He's got other people for that. Or he can get off his dead ass and he can dust his damn self. And he turned her around and kissed her. And I agree with the dad. It's a violation. It is. No offense to old Laura Ingalls Wilder. I wouldn't want to kiss that. Look at Saddlebags. Look at Saddlebags right there. Look at that pasty motherfucker. No. Before we go on, everyone please hit the like.
Busfield aggressively touched his daughter all over. The dad tells me that his daughter pushed Busfield away and screamed, and that Busfield told her to be quiet or people would hear her.
When you confronted Timothy Busfield, what happened?
Tim began to cry.
Tim began to cry. It's not helping me. He began to cry. It's a wonder the dad didn't beat his ass. Now I want to look at a comment that our girl May put up. Wow, what a great connect the dot. Look at that. So he does this to a young girl that he asked to clean his office. And then the fucker writes and directs a show called The Cleaning Lady, where someone is obsessed, I haven't watched it yet, with the cleaning lady. Woo! Damn, May. Great catch. He began to cry. I'd whip his bitch ass.
Cry. He started talking to me about how he was remorseful. Tim begged me not to go to the police.
He says Busfield promised to seek therapy. The dad, who's a therapist himself, says he agreed, a decision he now regrets.
You didn't go to the police.
No, I did not. This is why I feel so guilty.
He decided to break his silence after Busfield's arrest in Albuquerque for alleged...
I'm not down with this, Dad. I'm not down with this. Because you as a therapist in Sacramento, California, you know that you are a mandated reporter. And the victim we're talking about isn't just somebody you heard about. It's your own daughter. What was the price? How many zeros were on that check, Papa? How many zeros were on that check? Were you given money by Melissa Gilbert to give your daughter or get your daughter therapy? I'm smelling it. I'm smelling it, my friends.
Engaging in unlawful sexual conduct with twin brothers on the set of the TV show The Cleaning Lady.
My gut twisted. My heart was broken.
Busfield's attorney says the father's allegations about his daughter were never proved, and they're 25 years old. Busfield also denies the charges in his criminal case.
This man needs to go down. He is a bad apple.
Busfield is due in court for a hearing next Tuesday.
And that's today, and it's going to wind up, it's a bond hearing. So do you think he's going to get bond today or not? We know he can afford it. But I mean, 75 people, including his wife, wrote letters to the judge vouching that they will make sure he gets back to court. Okay? That's it. I'm smelling money, I'm smelling cover-ups, and a lot of things like that. And the clip from Melissa Gilbert earlier, people say it's an AI voice. I don't know how to tell those things, but when you hear the letter, you're going to hear that it is. She put that pen to paper. Carrie said, yep, he'll get bond. He'll get pond. Hopefully he doesn't do a George Cole Jr. and decide to check out early. You know? All right, TMZ, who tried to help out Tim by releasing the video. This kid, I'm going to go ahead and say kid, he looks about 14 and he works for TMZ now. What the hell is going on?
That's how long it took for Timothy Busfield's entire world to collapse. On January 9th, criminal charges were filed. On January 13th, there was a federal manhunt. And on January 14th, handcuffs and an orange jumpsuit. On January 15th, his talent agency cut ties. But here's the thing. These allegations didn't start 6 days ago. They started 30 years ago. And prosecutors say the pattern was there the whole time. Or
Kat said, I know how to tell because it's my job. She wrote the statement and it was fed into an AI voice maker for want of a better description. Ooh, thank you, Kat. All right, so is this kid here talking? Is this an AI voice? I need Kat to tell us from now on because everyone knows I believe every damn thing I see on the internet. I even bought it yesterday that Benny was breastfeeding Prayer Garden's baby. I was like, wow, anything is possible. I heard the slurping and everything. Couldn't believe it. I was like, way to go, single dad. I believe everything I see on the internet. That's why I tell you guys every day, you're in good hands.
Or is his arrest a part of a larger revenge plot? Hi, I'm Jackson Buhai with TMZ, and today we are talking about actor and director Timothy Busfield. Now, on January 9th, that's when everything changed for the actor known for his roles in The West Wing, Billions, and Field of Dreams. Now, authorities in New Mexico filed criminal charges claiming Busfield sexually abused young boys on the set of The Cleaning Lady, a show he was directing 4 years ago back in 2022. Now, according to charging documents obtained by TMZ, prosecutors allege Busfield inappropriately touched two child actors, both brothers, who were just 7 and 8 years old at the time of the alleged incident. Now, court papers claim one of the boys told investigators Busfield touched him inappropriately multiple times between takes while he was lying on a bed on set. Now, the filing states the alleged victim said this happened 5 or 6 times when he was 7 and continued when he turned 8. Now, prosecutors say the second boy, the twin brother, independently came forward with similar claims of unwanted touching. According to the documents, medical records show one child was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. The filing detailed behavioral changes, including nightmares, bedwetting, withdrawal, and fear. Now, Albuquerque police told us they launched their investigation in November of 2024. And by January 9th, an arrest warrant had been issued. But here's where things get interesting. Busfield wasn't even in New Mexico, all right? He wasn't even close. And federal authorities got involved really quickly. The U.S. Marshal Service joined Albuquerque police in tracking Busfield's movements across state lines. On January 14th, Busfield turned himself into authority. The entertainment industry was already distancing itself. Now, NBC made the first move, pulling an upcoming Law & Order SVU episode featuring Busfield in a guest role as a judge. Now, a source confirmed to TMZ the episode titled Corrosive was shelved indefinitely. Now, Warner Bros. Television, which produced The Cleaning Lady, released a statement to TMZ saying, quote, "The health and safety of our cast and crew is always our top priority, especially the safety of minors on our productions." Now, his wife, actress Melissa Gilbert, who you may recognize as Laura Ingalls from Little House on the Prairie, deleted her entire Instagram account as...
She did. She's deleted all socials, as the lovely AI voice told us. Okay, I learn something new every day, and it seems it's always Kat teaching me. Can we say go Kat? Can we say go Cat? Hey Cat, do I sound like an AI voice? Now, an article that I read said the children are twins. He's saying they're 7 and 8. Okay.
The news broke. Now, according to Deadline's reporting, Innovative Artists, the talent agency that had represented Busfield for years, dropped him on January 15th. Now, Busfield appeared in court wearing an orange jumpsuit and shackles. Now, the judge ordered him to be held without bond. He's facing 3 felony counts, 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct with a minor, and 1 count of child abuse. Now, a civil attorney, Larry Stein, told TMZ there could be a revenge motive at play. Stein pointed to statements in the criminal complaint suggesting the mother of the 2 boys allegedly told people on...
Okay, we got to come back to that. JJAATS said Hollywood ain't right. I call it Hollyweird. I love being entertained. I do. I love music. I love movies. Every time I come across a new Netflix series, I got to let everybody know. I had to blow Ange up, not literally, on Sunday morning. I'm like, you've got to watch this Netflix series. It's called His and Hers. Love being entertained. But I don't need the artists. I don't need the enlightened ones telling me how to think. You know what I'm saying? I don't need them in their Calabasas mansions and paying people off, looking down their nose at me, telling me, well, you should emulate me. No. Don't care if they smoke. Don't care how they vote. Entertain me, court jester. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. Do not give a shit. Don't care. All right, so the mom had some issues, which is what Timothy Busfield said, and it seems like this has actually been backed up.
Appeared in court wearing an orange jumpsuit and shackles. Now, the judge ordered him to be held without bond. He's facing 3 felony counts, 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct with a minor, and 1 count of child abuse. Now, a civil attorney, Larry Stein, told TMZ there could be a revenge motive at play. Stein pointed to statements in the criminal complaint suggesting the mother of the 2 boys allegedly told people on set she wanted revenge after her sons were cut from the final season of the show.
I don't think the words she used were, I'm going to get revenge. I think she was pissed. I think she was very pissed.
Now, according to Stein, Warner Brothers conducted an independent investigation using an outside law firm, and he claims they interviewed roughly a dozen people and concluded the evidence didn't support the allegations. Now, what I think is the most interesting part of this story is the video that Busfield took right before he turned himself in. Watch this.
Hi, everybody.
We gotta look at it again. Listen, the U.S. Marshals just busted down your damn house and you take off running. No wonder he didn't get a bond. And they're saying he can face 15 years. Woo! Tell you what, the legal system's getting real hokey and janky on us, don't you think? Used to be back in the day, if you eluded authorities, you're locked up till trial. Now, I'm asking you guys, unofficial poll, do you think he'll get bond today? But he thinks he's the hero because he turned himself in Albuquerque. And again, I go back to my statement, how Melissa Gilbert, she's got blank checks for this family to get them therapy, whatever they need. And I would be like, I'm not paying you shit. We're taking this to trial and we're going forward. But wait till you find out what's happened. First, let's listen to Tim Buss. Let's look at his statement.
It's Tim. I'm sure most of you know that are watching this that I was ordered to come to Albuquerque. I'm here now. I got the call Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car, drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque.
No planes coming out of JFK, LaGuardia, New Jersey, Syracuse, nowhere. You decided to road trip it, Tim? You're telling me that no planes were flying out of some of the biggest airports? How about Ronald Reagan in DC? How about Baltimore? But you decided to drive 2,000 miles. I don't think so happens. I think you were on the run, buddy.
I'm going to confront these lies. They're horrible. They're all lies. And I did not do anything to those little boys. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it with a great team. And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong and all lies. So hang in there. And hopefully I'm out real soon and back to work. And I love everybody for supporting me. Thank you.
But on January 14th, prosecutors filed new documents revealing a third allegation, but this one goes back 25 years. And according to the court filings obtained by us, a man came forward claiming Busfield sexually abused his daughter back in 2001 when she was just 16 years old. The alleged incident occurred at B Street Theater in Sacramento, California, a theater Busfield himself founded. Now, court documents state the girl was auditioning for Busfield when he allegedly kissed her and touched her inappropriately. But here's the disturbing part. Prosecutors say Busfield begged the family not to report the incident to police, promising he would get therapy instead. Now, B Street Theater released a statement to TMZ confirming they retained legal counsel back in 2001 to conduct an internal investigation. They said Busfield hasn't had any role in the organization since that year, adding, quote, "Although he is listed as an emeritus board member, he has not participated in theater governance or attended a board meeting since that time." But there's more. Prosecutors laid out a pattern. They referenced a 1994 lawsuit where a 17-year-old extra on Little Big League sued Busfield in Los Angeles County Superior Court.
All right, I call this a pattern of behavior. Pattern of behavior. There's a lot of lawsuits and a lot of internal inquiries going on by major studios. Warner Brothers, I think everybody knows that name. They hired a private law firm to look into these allegations. Well, came up with nothing. So it's yet again another troubled child star. Okay? Diane Summerhalder said he's a flight risk based on recent behavior. She tried to offer a payoff. Maybe not cash, but in counseling and other supports. Yep. I agree. Some states would call that obstruction. Okay? When you offer money to someone that is the victim in a crime that your husband is accused of, probably not a good idea to put a check in the mail, if you know what I mean. Not a good idea. But remember, this is not all West Wing's first rodeo. He's had a lot of internal inquiries, we're finding out.
They referenced a 1994 lawsuit where a 17-year-old extra on Little Big League sued Busfield in Los Angeles County Superior Court. Busfield denied the claims, countersued for extortion, and the case was settled privately. Then, in 2012, a 28-year-old woman accused Busfield of battery in a Los Angeles movie theater, alleging he slipped his hand under her clothes and touched her for 4 minutes. Now, police took a report, but LA prosecutors declined to file criminal charges. In their motion to keep Busfield detained,
Who'd have thunk it? Los Angeles police refused to go any further with it. Wow. Okay.
Prosecutors wrote that he, quote, poses an ongoing and serious danger to children and the community, claiming his conduct reflects, quote, a calculated pattern of grooming, lack of boundaries, and exploitation of professional authority to gain access to minors. So here's where we stand. Timothy Busfield, Emmy winner, beloved character actor, is sitting in a New Mexico jail cell facing multiple felony charges with allegations spanning 3 decades. Now, Busfield maintains his innocence. His lawyer says he passed a lie detector test, but prosecutors are painting a very different picture, one of a serial predator who used his power in the entertainment industry to access children. What do you think? Is this a coordinated takedown like his lawyer suggests, or a pattern finally catching up to someone? Drop your thoughts in the comments.
What do you guys think? Do you think this is really some sort of extortion, blackmail, money shakedown, stage moms that say, I want my child in the spotlight, not this child? Or do you think that all of the people that have come out, well, and have been paid off, there's been no criminal charges till now since, as we heard in that clip, since 1994, do you think there's something to this? It's been going on for a long time. Fama said, I think he is guilty AF. Susan needs more information. Needs more information. All right. After Melissa Gilbert's call, this is what came out. This came out 5 hours ago. Well, now it'd be about 6.5. Because I've been talking to my friends.
Shockwaves in the Timothy Busfield child sex abuse case. As newly released audio reveals a twist. The underage twin boys who accused the actor initially told investigators he never touched them inappropriately. The police recordings, obtained by the Post and published by TMZ, feature the 11-year-old boys, identified only as VL and SL, during interviews in November 2024. In the audio, an officer gently asks, "You know no one can touch your private areas?" To which both boys reply, "Yes." Then came the pivotal question, had Busfield ever touched them inappropriately? SL said, but he didn't touch that part, while VL added, "No, he's never touched me."
Okay, Kat said this is an AI voice. Okay. So what do you think about the initial interview with police where SL said he made it clear he understood that no one can touch you in those parts? Okay? No one can. No one can. He said, but he didn't touch that part. Then VL said, he's never touched me. So who's telling the truth? Is the therapist telling the truth? Because part of the defense is that this therapist seems to suggest abuse to children. I don't know why. I don't know where they got that information. I'm just telling you what they're saying. And nope, kids aren't extorting anybody. But if it's true that the mother is, well, we've opened up a whole new can of worms. This case can go one way or another, but in the end, these children are victims of something. Either it's an overbearing stage mother or Timothy Busfield truly did something to them.
The recordings were submitted to a New Mexico court on January 19th by Busfield's attorney, who called the statements an unequivocal denial of the alleged misconduct.
What was January 19th? Yesterday. Okay, so these made it to the judge yesterday. Who called the children's, I'm going to say mother yesterday? Timothy Busfield's wife, Melissa Gilbert, offering money for whatever therapy and anything they might need. Everybody putting this together? All putting this together? It stinks of green. It does. It truly does. Too many people are offering money to too many people, and you do not offer money to people that are accusing you of heinous crimes. So it's one way or another. they're paying the children's family off, or the psycho stage mom, as she's been labeled by the Busfield camp, is pushing every envelope to get money.
The evidence was filed ahead of a hearing scheduled for January 20th to decide whether the West Wing actor will be released on bail pending trial. Prosecutors, however, contend the audio only shows the boys failing to disclose abuse, according to Busfield's defense team. Meanwhile, TMZ reports that one boy confided to a therapist that Busfield touched his penis and bottom, a claim his mother confirmed. The story continues to unfold, with the latest audio and heartfelt plea sparking fresh debate over the actor's fate and the credibility of the allegations. Adding another dramatic twist, Busfield's wife, Melissa Gilbert, famed for Little House on the Prairie, submitted a personal letter to the judge, appealing for his release ahead of trial, bringing the case's emotional stakes directly into the courtroom.
In the letter, Gilbert speaks not as a public figure, but as someone who says she knows Busfield more intimately than anyone else in his life. She refers to him as her love and her rock, both in business and in life, and describes him as the beating hearts of their wild and wonderful extended family.
Virginia said, I just realized that Laura Ingalls married a guy that kind of looks like her boyfriend from the show. Weird. You think Timothy Busfield looks like Alonzo Wilder? Woo! Woo! Kat said, I want to know which came first, the therapist or the allegations? The therapist. The therapist came first. And I agree, Val. Even being accused of this kind of thing is so bad. And it's going to be hard for him to get out of this. It is. Anyone can talk through their nose and go, innocent till proven guilty, innocent till proven guilty. That's for the courts. We know how we look at things. We're like, nah. This dude's had too many people point a finger at him since 1994. Not gonna work. Kat, why were they on therapy then? Supposedly, one of the twins confided in his mother, this is just what I read in the New York Post, that while on the set, Timothy Busfield touched him inappropriately. And she took both boys to therapy. Once they spoke to the police, they said it didn't happen. That's all I know.
Gilbert tells the judge that in all her years with Timothy Busfield, she believes he has, quote, the strongest moral compass of any human I have ever known. She goes on to say he has dedicated his spiritual self to being of service to others, writing that he starts every day with kindness and compassion. Gilbert does not stop there. She tells the court she has heard from numerous people Busfield has worked with over the years, colleagues who have told her he was their favorite director. She says former students have also approached her in public, praising his guidance, patience, and mentorship. According to Gilbert, these unsolicited encounters only reinforced her belief that the man she knows privately is the same man others experienced professionally. She also highlights Busfield's role inside her own family, describing how he nurtured and guided her son, Michael Boxleitner, from the time he was just a teenager. This letter, she makes clear, is not a legal argument. It is a character portrait, offered directly to the judge. And Melissa Gilbert is not the only one who has stepped forward. Her son, Michael Boxleitner, also submitted a letter in support of Timothy Busfield. In it, Michael refers to Busfield as a hero. He tells the judge that over the past 15 years, Busfield showed up for him more consistently than his biological father, actor Bruce Boxleitner, ever did. Michael praises Busfield.
I forgot they were married. I forgot Melissa Gilbert was married to Bruce Boxleitner. I forgot about that. Man, the son looks just like his daddy.
Field's stalwart integrity, writing that there is, quote, no man on this earth more worthy of respect, kindness, and care in my eyes. These letters now sit in the court record as Busfield faces allegations that he sexually assaulted 2 children while working on the set of the series, The Cleaning Lady. Earlier this week, Busfield surrendered to authorities in New Mexico after a warrant was issued for his arrest. Actor and director Timothy Busfield, best known for his role on The West Wing and his work behind the camera, is aggressively pushing back against prosecutors in his New Mexico child sex abuse case, according to new court documents obtained by TMZ. Timothy Busfield filed an opposition late Friday night challenging the prosecution's request to keep him behind bars during the pre-trial phase, arguing that the case against him is built on what he calls unreliable and discredited testimony, as first reported by TMZ. Prosecutors have charged Timothy Busfield with child abuse and criminal sexual contact of a minor, stemming from allegations that he sexually abused 2 brothers, ages 7 and 8, in 2022. At the time, the children were actors on the Fox series The Cleaning Lady, a show Busfield directed and produced, according to court filings cited by TMZ. In his filing, Timothy Busfield accused prosecutors of asking the judge to imprison him based on a story that has already collapsed under independent scrutiny, language quoted directly from the court documents reviewed by TMZ. Busfield's defense claims the state has failed to present reliable evidence that any abuse occurred and argues the case relies almost entirely on the accounts of the children's parents, Angeli LaSalle and Ronald Rodas, whose sons were later replaced on The Cleaning Lady in 2024, according to production records referenced in the filing. The actor alleges that the parents only came forward with accusations after their children lost their roles, and only after consulting civil attorneys, claiming this timing suggests a financial and retaliatory motive, as outlined in the defense's opposition motion cited by TMZ. Timothy Busfield's filing goes further, attacking the credibility of Ronald Rodas. According to the documents, Rodas is a former lawyer who was convicted of federal conspiracy and
Let me get some comments. Lisa A. said, media doxed these kids. Yeah, I think by now everybody knows their names. Part of it's the media and part of it's the mom. Okay, the mom hasn't been quiet about this. And I think that she should have just kept her trap shut. I really, really do. And just let the courts sort it out. Val, every time you say half pint, I spit my coffee through my nose. Half pint should tell Timmy to call her when he gets out. Yeah, half pint, get on it. Get on it. I think that the guy that reported from TMZ was confused. You can't be twins and one be 7 and one be 8 because the mother says they're twins, but they are twins. And it's been reported everywhere else that they're twins. Now, they were playing one part, but they were taking turns playing that part. You know, kind of like the Olsen twins did in Full House. Yeah. Good morning, Tony. Good morning, Jana. But the credibility with the Tim Bus camp is going down the drain, knowing that these allegations have been going on since 94 and there's been multiple payoffs. Now, I think in 94, Melissa Gilbert was married to the dude from Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Do y'all remember that show? Ange, you remember that show, Scarecrow and Mrs. King? That was a great show. That was a great show. Y'all remember that show? Lisa, do you remember Scarecrow and Mrs. King? Susan remembers. That was a great show.
Fraud, resulting in his disbarment. The defense alleges Rodas was involved in a multi-million-dollar scheme that defrauded more than 1,500 homeowners of approximately $6 million, per court records referenced by TMZ. Timothy Busfield also raises allegations against Angeli LaSalle, claiming she has faced multiple civil judgments related to fraudulent and dishonest behavior. These claims are detailed in the same filing opposing the prosecution's detention request, according to TMZ's reporting. The defense argues that because the prosecution's case hinges on witnesses with documented legal and financial issues, the state cannot meet its burden to justify keeping Busfield incarcerated before trial, as outlined in New Mexico pretrial detention standards cited in the motion. Timothy Busfield's legal team insists there is no convincing evidence that he poses a danger to the community and says the prosecution's motion should be denied, allowing him to be released while the case moves forward, according to the filing obtained by TMZ. With both sides now sharply divided, the next decision rests with the judge, who must weigh the credibility of witnesses, the seriousness of the charges, and whether Timothy Busfield remains jailed as one of Hollywood's most high-profile legal battles continues to unfold.
Okay, well, knowing that this came out overnight, that when questioned by the police, the children totally denied it. Look, they're kids. They're kids. He's been in jail since when? The 14th, I believe they said. He'll probably get a bond today. And I'm sure the judge isn't happy about all the letters he got yesterday. Let's get to that. Because these aren't people like Daisy's community writing letters, or all the people that were harassing the judge in the Idaho 4 case that was just like, that's not how court works. No, your emotions, your feelings, and your opinions do not sway how this court works. No, no, no. But this is a bond hearing today. And so I just have a feeling he's going to get bond today. And I hope it comes with very strict rules, as in, I don't care if it's your grandbaby, you're not to be around any children until this is sorted out. However, him saying the word exonerated, that one that was a real zinger. But 75 letters.
Take care of my sweet husband is the heartfelt plea by Melissa Gilbert to the judge. In a letter, the Little House on the Prairie actress writes, Tim Busfield is my love, my rock. He is my protector. I am his. But I cannot protect him now, and I think that, more than anything else, is what is truly breaking my heart. I only want this extraordinary man safe and whole. Melissa Gilbert is one of 75 people who've submitted letters of support to the judge as Timothy Busfield remains locked up in an Albuquerque jail awaiting tomorrow's bail hearing.
I'm really surprised none of his co-stars or, anybody on the West Wing or 30-something or any of the shows he's been in haven't weighed in. Because when someone has a creepy behavior, it all comes out in the wash, and someone knew it before.
Patricia Wedig, who played Busfield's on-screen wife in the TV hit 30-something back in the early 90s, also wrote the judge, he is a wonderful man, and I trust him completely.
Okay, I spoke too soon, because the chick from 30-something said he's a wonderful man, and I trust him completely. Okay.
30-something co-star actor Peter Horton says Tim is a good man. Busfield was arrested in Albuquerque 6 days ago for allegedly engaging in unlawful sexual conduct with twin brothers as a director on the set of the TV show The Cleaning Lady. He denies the charges. Today, I spoke to attorney Jim Wicca, who represented a teen who worked as an extra on the 1994 sports film Little Big League, co-starring Busfield.
She was a 17-year-old young lady, a teenager, who was working on the set of a movie with Mr. Busfield, and some inappropriate conduct occurred.
In a civil lawsuit, the teenager claimed Busfield invited the extra into his trailer, assaulted her, served her alcohol, groped her. Busfield was never criminally charged and denied the allegations. Wicca says the lawsuit was
because she was paid off. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. Just like the girl that was 16 and her father's a therapist. They chose not to file charges or go to the police. Why, you ask? Count the zeros. It's wholly weird. It's wholly weird. They live in their own little bubble. They live in their own little bubble.
settled. When you heard about these charges, these allegations against actor Tim Busfield, what was your initial reaction given your history with him?
My reaction was one of kind of just sick to my stomach, that here we go again, and not complete surprise.
You said his ass wasn't surprised. Was Timothy Busfield in the Blue Lagoon with Brooke Shields? I don't think so. I don't think so. Gold Girl, what's up, girl? She said, which is sad because that allows others to be victimized. Exactly. Money doesn't hurt these people. No. No. How many independent law firms have looked into him through Warner Brothers? They write a check. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. I mean, I might do something to someone else, but your kid's off limits. Bye-bye now. And in the memo of the check, for therapy or for charity, donation to your favorite cause. I mean, come on. Gotta be kidding me. I don't know. The more I've been going through this, I'm thinking it smells of stank. But now that, I mean, since it goes back to 1994 and Laura Ingalls calls the mother and says she wants to offer whatever money she can for, I mean, all the therapy, anything the kids, anything that they thought might have happened to them. Woo! Woo! That's not the way you take care of things. No. And him going on TMZ saying, I drove 2,000 miles. Shut the front door. You were running. You were running. The U.S. Marshals would have given you a free ride. Okay? They have their own Amex cards. They know how to get a plane ticket. They would have shackled you and they would have taken your ass straight to Albuquerque. You ran. Why would somebody run? I had to drive 2,000 miles from New York to Albuquerque. Nobody asked you to drive. You had a free ride paid for by the taxpayers of the United States of America. All right, now let's get to this. And by the way, if anyone can post it in here, we have another show in about an hour and a half. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, trigger warning, it's a sick one.
Director Timothy Busfield is going to be back in front of a judge tomorrow to determine whether or not he should remain behind bars while a child sexual abuse case against him works its way through the courts. Now, Busfield, you might know him. He's known for his work on the hit TV series 30-something, The West Wing, the movie Field of Dreams. He turned himself over to law enforcement in Albuquerque last week, charged with 2 counts of...
I really wish they would quit spinning it, saying he turned himself in. The U.S. Marshals were looking for him, and he just took off driving. He ran. Don't get it twisted. I had to drive from upstate New York to Albuquerque. Oh, really? He knew not to check into the airport. You know why? because he'd been flagged. They would have got him in the airport. So instead, he drove. You know how many people are apprehended at the airport? Lots. Lots. No, innocent people don't run. Face the music. Just face the music. But instead, he gets to Albuquerque, takes a little selfie video, and sends it to TMZ, thinking that he's gonna put that Band-Aid on a sucking chest wound. The behavior is unbecoming.
Criminal sexual contact of a minor and 1 count of child abuse. He's accused of inappropriate conduct with twin boys that he worked with on the Fox show The Cleaning Lady. Now, officials, they launched an initial investigation into Busfield's apparent behavior with the boys back in November of 2024, because that is when a hospital reported concerns of possible grooming, claiming that the boys referred to Busfield, who was a producer and director of the show, as Uncle Tim, and said he gave them unwanted tickles. Now, this is a key part. Neither boy apparently mentioned any sexual contact at that time. So that was the end of it. That is until October 2025. What happened? That's when the boy's mother filed a report with CPS after one of the boys claimed that Busfield did, in fact, touch his private.
True story. True story, mark my words. What is today, January 20th? It is 10:17 a.m. Had he surrendered to the U.S. Marshals and taken the free ride to Albuquerque, he probably would have gotten a bond hearing the next day. True. True. That's the country we live in. But since he decided to take a Thelma and Louise looking ass road trip from upstate New York to Albuquerque, acting like he's doing the right thing, that does not sit well with this person. No. Sect no one said that's right, Brooks. Innocent people will prove their innocence and not run. He'd be out on bail. I'm telling you, he would be. U.S. Marshals brought him in. We got him. All right, how do you plead? Not guilty. Attorneys show up. They explain the whole story. This is some crazy stage mother. Give him cash bond, whatever you want. He's got property here in New Mexico. And that's it. He'd be out. Gotta be kidding me. Like he's some kind of hero. He turned himself in. Yeah, okay.
It's over his clothes when he was 7 or 8, and that he didn't speak up because he didn't want to get in trouble. And according to the 13-page arrest warrant, therapist records.
Karma Libra. She said, wonder if he drove through here, LOL. Well, coming from upstate New York, he would have to. I guarantee he went right by your house on I-40. I guarantee he did. That's exactly how he got to Albuquerque. Ever go to the Balloon Fest, Karma? It's a straight shot from your house. CLWHP. Anyone know what Melissa's letter said to the judge? A bunch of mumble jumble. We had it earlier in the show if you want to rewind. He's the rock of the family. He's her protector. She's his protector. And it's breaking her heart. She can't protect him anymore. But she also has reached out to the victims and offered them a substantial amount of money for therapy.
Speak up because he didn't want to get in trouble. And according to the 13-page arrest warrant, therapist records also show that this boy was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. He suffered from nightmares related to the alleged abuse. But here's the other side. Timothy Busfield, unsurprisingly, adamantly denies all the allegations against him, even filmed a video before he turned himself in, calling them horrible lies. On Friday, he submitted an opposition filing demanding his release from jail, not only painting the parents of the accusers as fraudsters with a history of legal dishonesty, but also pointing to a polygraph test that Busfield recently apparently passed. An independent investigation by Warner Brothers that was unable to substantiate any of the claims. A psychosexual evaluation that says he, quote, does not appear to have a sexual attraction to prepubescent or adolescent males or females. There is a lot to unpack here. It's all about credibility. What do we make of it? My next guest,
I have questions about that too, with the independent, this has nothing to do with the police. It is an independent investigation done by Warner Brothers by another allegation where they, I guess, showed him some ink blobs and said, what does that look like to you? And he said, an ink blob. And they said, oh, okay, so he's not attracted to little boys or girls. No. And he passed a polygraph test. Now, one thing I will say is when a polygraph, which doesn't make a hill of beans to me, I don't care about them. When it's independent, it will never be given to the police because we don't know what the questions are. They won't tell what the questions were. It could start out with, is your name Timothy Busfield? Yes. Okay, there's our baseline. Timothy, do you like working here? Yeah. Okay. Timothy, do you get a lot of royalties from your wife's show, Little House on the Prairie? Yeah. Well, he passed. You know what I'm saying? That's how independent polygraphs go.
the man for the job. Chris Hansen made a name for himself with his work on Dateline's cultural phenomenon To Catch a Predator. He hasn't slowed down not one bit. His mission continues on Takedown with Chris Hansen, which streams on True Blue. Take a look if you haven't seen it.
I'm happy to meet you. Yeah, sit down. Hug? I'm scared to hug you.
Come here.
I want to hug right now.
Don't be scared.
I'm scared to.
Bingo! Bingo! Lisa's got her thinking cap on today. Lisa A got a straight day. A trained actor, Emmy Award-winning actor, can easily pass a polygraph test. Can we all please have a round of applause for Lisa A and for my singing? That's what I'm talking about.
Hug you.
Why?
I want to talk to you first.
Show me the house.
Can you get me a slice of pizza?
Yeah.
Tyler. Oh, I knew it. Sit. Right here. Right here.
Yep.
Right here. So you're a little disappointed to see me, Tyler?
I just knew that this was how it was going to go. Bad decision.
Yeah, bad decision. Still showed up. Chris Hansen, good to see you.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me on the premiere.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. I'm so happy. And I'll tell everybody a little story about it. Thank you very much. Tell everybody a little story about how we met. But anyway, this is what's confusing to me about this, okay? Is this, in your opinion...
No one gives a shit how you and Chris Hansen met. And by the way, for those of you going to CrimeCon, I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. Chris Hansen is a real asshole. Me and Mama She met him a couple of years ago. He is a grade A asshole, okay? Grade A asshole. But that's okay. He does great work.
And you know, a classic example of the dark side of Hollywood. I mean, the allegations are horrendous. There's also these weird aspects where you wonder, what's going on here? Is this a credibility issue?
Well, there is a credibility issue, but when you look at Timothy Busfield's past, right, there was a case in 1994 where there was a civil lawsuit filed on behalf of a 17-year-old working on the movie set where he was shooting Little Big Leagues, right, in Minneapolis. And that case ultimately led to a settlement, his team paying the girl, non-disclosure agreement, and it also led to Busfield's team suing the lawyer who represented the girl. He lost that, and they had to pay $150,000 in punitive damages.
This is not little money. This is not little money. This was done in civil court. He sued the lawyer for what? I don't know, because he already paid out the money. lost that. So then he had to pay the attorney $150,000. Damn. You know why he sued the lawyer? It's because part of the civil agreement is that he would pay this girl's attorney's fees. So him and Laura, they write a check to the girl, and then they're like, we don't want to pay the attorney. We settled ourselves. We don't need him. And it fell through, so they had to pay him $150,000. Holy hell. Even OJ's shaking his head. Oh, OJ's fake sneezing. OJ is so mad. Listen to that again.
Little Big Leagues, right, in Minneapolis. And that case ultimately led to a settlement, his team paying the girl, non-disclosure agreement, and it also led to Busfield's team suing the lawyer who represented the girl. He lost that, and they had to pay $150,000 in punitive damages to the lawyer. So this is coming from the Timothy Busfield playbook in some ways. There's a history of alleged sexual misconduct and other accusations with of-age women in the Minneapolis area during the filming of this movie.
And to be clear, during these pretrial detention hearings, right, and I believe in New Mexico, they might not even be an issue of monetary bail, but it could be released. They can include a lot of different evidence.
Oh, absolutely. Similar
Do you think
acts.
he's going to be released?
I don't know, Jesse. It's tough to say because, look, when you're dealing with an investigation this sensitive involving a celebrity, a public figure, you know the threshold here. Obviously, there has to be probable cause to get the warrant. An assistant DA's got to sign off on it. It probably went to the very top of the district attorney's office. So there's got to be some evidence there that at least the district attorney's office feels is, you know, important and can be taken to trial at some point.
But it is, a lot of it's based on the accounts of these two boys. But there was also backing of their interviews with, let's say, a therapist. I understand that. But an independent investigation by Warner Brothers, a law firm that was hired, found no corroborating evidence. Apparently, he took a polygraph. You talk about this psychosexual evaluation. You have covered thousands of these cases. Does anything give you pause?
Well, I think, you know, if you look at the timing of this, obviously he has known at least since November that this investigation existed. There was an interview where he was on the phone claiming.
He did know. He did know. He absolutely did know. So did Melissa Gilbert. But when the U.S. Marshals came for him, he ran. He had plenty of time to pony up. Plenty of time. Yes, of course he was speaking to attorneys. Of course he was. He's not Andrew Hiltz. He's not Brittany Jackson that goes around going, I need money for an attorney. I need money for an attorney. People are bothering me. He's got the money. This allegation scared the bejesus out of him because all of the other ones, from what we're being told, he got by with a cash exchange.
That, you know, maybe there was tickling, maybe there was some things that happened. It wasn't sexual horseplaying. But my question is, if you've been in the business that long, why are you alone with two boys, right? Why does that even happen? You know, you've got to know that questions can be raised if you're alone with a child that's not your child. So why not be more careful going into it? Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know, but I'm suspicious of the circumstances surrounding what happened. Again, if in fact these allegations are true, it would be out of his pattern of the past accusations of sexual misconduct. So that's what raises some red flags to me.
And if these accusations are true, like you said, it reads like a playbook. Somebody in power is able to exert that over young individuals.
Right. He's had 2,000 miles in several days to start planning with his lawyers to take the polygraph where he claims there was no sexual contact, to take this psychosexual evaluation, and to get these 75 letters from people who support him.
Well, let me ask you this. Melissa Gilbert, his wife, Little House on the Prairie, she could have easily said, no comment, it's a private time. She issued a statement. Tim has the strongest moral compass of any human I have ever known. He has dedicated his spiritual...
Okay, for those of you that were asking what she said, it's being read right here.
compass of any human I have ever known. He has dedicated his spiritual self to always being of service to others. I believe this was submitted to the court in support of him being released. That's different.
It is different. And obviously, she's standing by her man in this case. And other friends and people in the industry are doing the same thing. It's not unusual for somebody to portray themselves one way in front of their friends and family and to have an alter identity where they act out like this. I've seen this. You look at the guy in the sting operation. You just saw Tyler. He goes to work every day, or did, as a government contractor outside of Baltimore, Maryland, and nobody had an inkling that he was capable of coming over to see a teenage girl in a sting operation.
I think tomorrow's very important. I think it's very smart to see what ultimately happens, what the court listens to. Before I let you go, okay, first of all,
no one cares about Jesse and Chris's bromance. Thank you, Kat. She said public service announcement. That's not an AI voice. That's someone else reading her words. We need Kat for this. Okay. Essay on a child or anyone is not a service to others. That's a very strange wording for a court document that comes from a defense. Okay? That's a very strange thing. Must be kidding me. Now I need to know from you guys, do you want to continue following this case? Because I think it's going to get pretty hairy. I mean, we're already in the weeds. We are. I know we're going to have some people that are going to come in here as it's heating up and they're going to go, Brooks, everyone is innocent till proven guilty, Brooks. Oh my God, Brooks. Okay, listen, we're talking about children. Lisa says yes. Janice says yeah. Mallory says yes. Gold Girl says, let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. All right. Now, in an hour and a half, I want everyone to set your alarm, set your reminder, because there is another case out of Kentucky. Another case out of Kentucky I want to talk about. If you have had lunch, you might want to watch it on the replay, because it is beyond disgusting what this couple in Louisville, Kentucky did. Okay? You guys are the absolute best. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for being open-minded. And, well, for the millionth time, for being the best friends a gal can have on these nasty YouTube streets. I will see you back here in an hour and a half. It's going to hurt my feelings if you're not here. Love you.